Milan Sedlacek is the engineer in charge of the Chodov substation south of Prague. He's got problems, and they're getting worse. His lines power half the city.
Quite often our technicians arrive to work on some equipment and the control center tells them it won't let them work on it today. Then we get huge power overloads again, and no one dares to take anything off the grid. So we can't do any work on it.
Milan goes on to say that the power grids in Europe involve a constant give and take. And if one side only ever takes and never gives, it can sour relations. The Czech power grid often runs at its limits, and Germany is to blame. This is a consequence of Germany's phasing out nuclear power. Northern Germany's wind farms are supposed to replace the power generated by southern Germany's nuclear plants. Europe's power grids were only designed for steady current from power stations, while current from wind energy tends to just randomly wash into the grid. These sudden power surges can cause problems for the aging Czech power lines. More and more, the control center of Czech grid operator ČEPS finds its power lines running hot.
The threat of a blackout is not only serious, it's very real. In late 2011 and early last year, we had to take every step available to prevent a blackout, really every last step. At some point, all we could do was wait and see. So far, we've been lucky and scraped by. But the risk was extremely high. And right now, we don't have any other means to prevent a blackout.
These emergency measures cost money. The Czech side has to shut down its own power plants or ask other countries for help. But it's the Czechs who have to foot the bill.
We
have to ask for help because the surplus flows over to us. The problems ought to be solved at the point of origin where they're created. And if we have to ask for help, the Czech consumers shouldn't have to pay for it.
Germany's neighbors say Germany made its decision to phase out nuclear power unilaterally, without consulting them. And now they're threatening to cut the power supply. Germany is trying to smooth some ruffled feathers.
We're not taking any chances that our neighbors will suffer any damage. It's understandable if our neighbors are thinking about taking action, but we don't think that'll be necessary. We've adopted the first measures with our grid consumption plan, and once Thuringen's power bridge is complete, the famous Northeast Line, that'll relieve the situation quite a lot.
But can Germany's neighbors wait that long? New wind farms are going online all the time. Even the European Wind Energy Association has been issuing stern warnings of far-reaching consequences for all Europe.
It's not just a Czech problem, it's also largely a Polish problem, and to a lesser extent, a Danish, Dutch, and Belgian problem, since these current fluxes occur there too.
The EU can't help. Energy policies are partly made on the EU level, but the construction of power lines is subject to national law. This is why the Czech Energy Ministry is unhappy.
It's very hard to make progress here. To get it accepted that the approval of new power lines has to be subordinated to pan-European interests, at least when it's a matter of grids that would affect all of Europe. But politically, that's hardly conceivable right now, and we'll never achieve a new European infrastructure this way.
It's European regionalism. When the wind blows in Germany, the lines will keep running hot in the Czech Republic. So the Czech Republic is investing some 100 million euros to install phase shifters on the German border. They regulate the current. And then, when too much current surges over from Germany, the Czech grid can simply turn it off, even if that blows some fuses in Germany.